You could feel the anger tonight at a Board of Trustees meeting in Thornton Township. The board and citizens looking for accountability to their finances, while the township supervisor.
But it saddens my heart that you are up here at this special meeting and not downstairs where we have big meetings.
Dalton, Illinois is making headlines for all the wrong reasons, and Mayor Tiffany Henyard is at the center of it all. If you haven't been following the story, things are getting intense. Allegations of financial mismanagement, federal investigations, and mounting controversy are putting her leadership at risk. Let's break it down.
Unfortunately, we knew it was going to be a little messy, but it's just something we felt important that had to be done, that should be done. So, but like I said, just some kind.
Dalton, a small suburban village, is in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons, and Mayor Tiffany Henyard is at the heart of the controversy. Once financially stable with a multi-million-dollar surplus, the village is now buried in over $3.5 million of debt. As residents demand answers, Henyard is nowhere to be found, disappearing from the public eye just as the crisis deepens.
So that's one of the reasons I vote no when we go through our board packets. It's like, some of this stuff, it's like you don't know exactly what it's for, and then when you ask the question, there's no.
Henyard's path to becoming mayor was anything but typical. She didn't win over voters with strong leadership or a clear vision. Instead, she was appointed under controversial circumstances. It all started after the unexpected passing of former Mayor Frank Zuccarelli. The Dalton Township Board was split on who should take his place. And as the deadline approached, trustee Christopher Gonzalez made a last-minute nomination, Tiffany Henyard. She wasn't a well-known figure in local politics, and she wasn't even the first choice.
Guys, it's the Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard, the People's Mayor and People's Super.
With the deadline looming, the board reluctantly agreed, and just like that, Tiffany Henyard was sworn in, just minutes before midnight. It was an unexpected and controversial move, and things only got more questionable from there. As soon as she took office, Henyard wasted no time asserting her authority. One of her first actions, firing key officials who had worked closely with the former mayor. These weren't just any staff members. They were experienced professionals with deep ties to the community. But to Henyard, they were obstacles, potential challengers to her power. Without warning or explanation, she removed them, leaving residents shocked and wondering what her real agenda was.
Is there a motion to terminate Keith?
Under Henyard's leadership, Dalton quickly became her own personal domain, where she made the rules and silenced opposition. Rumors spread that she had a personal grudge against those loyal to the previous mayor, especially anyone who tried to advise her. It didn't take long for residents to see that this wasn't just a leadership shakeup. It was a full-blown takeover. Instead of building on the village's progress, Henyard seemed to be dismantling it, leaving the community in turmoil.
Body, is it a reason why you guys are not paying whatever that vendor is?
What was it for?
It was for shirts. That's what it's for. You just got it.
They knew what they were doing, and they thought they can get.
Firing a few employees was just the start. Once in office, Henyard's actions made one thing clear. Either she was in over her head, or she simply didn't care about the consequences. She quickly surrounded herself with loyalists, people who would do as they were told without question. Township officials were locked out of their offices, and those who opposed her reportedly faced intimidation. It didn't take long for her administration to gain a reputation for being aggressive and retaliatory. But the real bombshell came when financial reports revealed a stunning reality. Dalton's once-strong budget had crumbled. In just 2 years, a $5.6 million surplus had turned into $3.65 million in debt. Residents wanted answers, and all eyes were on Henyard. Even former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, brought in to investigate Dalton's finances, didn't hold back. In her early findings,
the township residents are paying for.
Lightfoot's investigation uncovered shocking details. Henyard had been spending taxpayer money at an alarming rate. Lavish trips, extravagant dinners, and shopping sprees that seemed more fitting for a celebrity than a public official. And the worst part? It was all charged to the village's credit card.
Reason for anyone from a township to go to a mayor's conference. A mayor's conference is a mayor's conference.
One of the most shocking findings from Lightfoot's investigation, Henyard spent $33,000 in a single day on Amazon, using taxpayer money. No clear explanation, no accountability, just tens of thousands of dollars gone in an instant.
Who would make a one day purchase of over $40,000 to Amazon? And the main thing is, what
And that's just the beginning. Certain police officers were given massive overtime payouts, some making more in overtime than their base salaries. One officer alone pocketed an unbelievable $114,800 in overtime pay. It's no surprise Dalton's finances are in shambles. But Henyard's questionable decisions didn't stop there. She also reappointed disgraced Deputy Police Chief Lyle Lacey, even though he was already facing federal charges for bankruptcy fraud.
Appointment. That's what the trustees I talked to are calling this. They say the news took them by surprise, and now they're talking to legal counsel to figure out their next.
The village trustees had already placed Lacey on administrative leave, but in a baffling move, Henyard reinstated him and ordered the police department to take his direction. When trustees tried to remove him again, Lacey ignored their decision and kept showing up to work as if nothing had changed. The situation spiraled further when Henyard was caught on record telling the police to stop playing these silly games and follow Lacey's orders, despite his federal charges and the trustees' clear vote of no confidence.
Absolutely not guilty of all 9 counts. I believe he's cooperating. And if you cooperate, you have to admit your guilt.
Henyard's inner circle wasn't free from controversy either. Keith Freeman, her top aide and village administrator, faced legal trouble of his own. Charged with bankruptcy fraud, he was also found to have been overpaid in a previous government job. Despite these red flags, Henyard kept him in a key position, adding to suspicions that her administration was more focused on protecting loyalists than serving the public. As financial scandals piled up, public outrage grew. Residents began calling her the Dalton dictator, accusing her of bankrupting the village while enjoying a lavish lifestyle at their expense. But the outrage wasn't just about money. Henyard was also caught up in a harassment and retaliation lawsuit. A former employee accused one of Henyard's allies of inappropriate conduct during a work trip to Las Vegas. And when the victim spoke out, she was fired. The lawsuit only strengthened concerns that Henyard was willing to do whatever it took to silence critics and maintain control.
Debt, and that is the finding of an investigation of village finances and the spending habits of beleaguered Mayor Tiffany.
With scandal after scandal, it was only a matter of time before federal authorities stepped in. The FBI launched an investigation into Henyard's activities, issuing subpoenas for payroll records, expenses, employment details, and credit card transactions in both Dalton and Thornton Township. While the probe is ongoing, the presence of federal agents has only heightened the drama. Henyard, however, has dismissed the investigation as a politically motivated attack, claiming she's being targeted because she's a black woman in power. But her critics aren't buying it. To them, this isn't about race. It's about corruption and reckless spending. Even former supporters have turned against her, with many openly regretting their past endorsements. One vocal critic, Cher Britton, who initially backed Henyard, later called her a tyrant and a dictator. She's not alone. Many Dalton residents feel betrayed, believing Henyard has put personal gain over public service. As the controversy deepens, state officials have stepped in. Illinois State Comptroller Susana Mendoza took the rare step of freezing state funds for Dalton after the village failed to submit financial reports for 2 years. Mendoza didn't hold back, warning that Henyard's refusal to comply with state laws was putting the community in danger. If Dalton doesn't straighten out its finances, it could face nearly $80,000 in fines, money it simply doesn't have. Public outrage is reaching a boiling point. Protests demanding Henyard's resignation are growing, and a recent village board meeting turned chaotic, forcing police to step in due to security threats. 4 trustees pushing for an investigation into Henyard walked out in protest, accusing her of silencing the public. Henyard dismissed their actions as political theater, but it's clear her administration is falling apart. Then there's the involvement of former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, hired as a special investigator to uncover the truth about Dalton's financial mess. While Lightfoot doesn't have the authority to file criminal charges, her findings could be passed to law enforcement, adding even more legal trouble for Henyard. So far, Lightfoot has uncovered enough questionable activity to suggest Henyard's administration is on the verge of collapse. Despite everything, Henyard remains defiant. She continues to deny any wrongdoing, insists she's the victim of a smear campaign, and refuses to step down. But with investigations closing in, public outrage at an all-time high, and even her closest allies facing legal trouble, It's only a matter of time before her grip on power. What do you think? Will Tiffany Henyard finally be held accountable? Or will she find a way to dodge the consequences yet again? And with so much damage done, can Dolton ever bounce back from the turmoil of her leadership? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates. Thanks for watching.